Well, hasn't this proposed rate rise by the council stirred up a bull ant's nest, if you like? This story across page 4 of the Cairns Post today. It's under the heading, Half a Takeaway Coffee. Now, it says here that Cairns Division 4 Councillor Terry James has told Edge Hill realtor Billy Gardner he expects the new rating category on non-principal places of residence, NPPRs, to be kept between 15 and 25% on top of base rates, which account for about 40% of a Cairns residential property's total rates bill. Despite the reassurance, Mr Gardner, director at Edge Hill's Professionals Real Estate Agency, said his clients, who were informed of the rate rise via letter, are fuming. Now, Mr Gardner has formulated an online petition calling for the council to scrap what he's dubbed the Tenant Tax. And in 5 days it's gained, listen to this, in 5 days it's gained its goal of 1,500 signatures. My God, talking about an ant's nest. And I don't know if you heard Lisa Dunkerton yesterday. My God, didn't she formulate an argument, potent argument on this particular front. Now, Billy's on the line. Billy's around. He's a very long-term resident and very long-term real estate agent, of course, and by the sounds of things in touch with the feelings of a hell of a lot of locals on this matter. Now, he's Principal and Director of Professionals Real Estate at Edge Hill. Billy, good morning.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Good to talk to you again. Let's get stuck into this. As soon as that letter hit the letterboxes, how long till someone was on the phone to you?
Before I even read the letter, it went out. We actually received copies of it on behalf of many of our landlords that have up their postal addresses. Let me make something clear. I didn't dub this the tenants tax. That was something that came out on social media that we just picked up on. But I had phone calls that very afternoon. One of the first ones came from an investor who owns multiple properties. And I thought when he rang me, he was talking about something referring to Airbnb properties, because I'd heard that noted for quite a while that they were possibly looking at charging extra rates for people who are running Airbnbs. But this first sentence of the letter says, Council will introduce a new rating category commencing in 23-24 financial year for properties that are non-principal place of residence. Now, when we've got Queensland statistics say we've got a 0.5% vacancy rate across the state. Now, yes. 3 to 5% is considered a normal, sustainable vacancy rate. Well, I'm actually quoting that we've got a negative vacancy rate, because although, of course, there's going to be times when a tenant moves out and someone moves in, we're getting 20 and 30 applicants for each property. So in effect, the negative, the vacancy rate is actually negative, because there's more people applying than properties that are coming vacant. But the big thing about this is that it's discriminatory against investors at the exact time when we want investors reinvesting in the market. Now, during the last 2 years of the Botanic, these are REIQ stats that they've put together, 160,000 rental properties have been removed from the rental market. And 45% of investors have sold a property in Queensland, the highest in the country. Source the People 2022 report. So we've lost well over 100 in the last 12 months through no fault of our own. It's simply that when investors are selling their properties, they are mostly 95% being sold to owner-occupiers. So every time that happens, there's one less property on the rental market. Now, rental listings have dropped by 61.5% since the start of the pandemic in Brisbane. And since 2016, rental listings have halved across the entire country. So that continues to happen. We're not going to have a property management business because there won't be any properties to manage. And investors are just sick of being discriminated against. They've got no choice. The reason it becomes a tenants tax is because his investors have to pass this on to the tenants. Most investors are mom and dads. 71% of investment properties in Australia are only own one property.
Sure.
91% only own one or two. That leaves 9% who actually own several properties. Now, these people have got mortgages. They've become mom and dad investors, hoping that one day they can use that, they can collect the rent, and they can use that, hopefully a capital gain at the end of the day, for their retirement. But they're just sick of it. One investor said to me, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. F it. Sell the lot. And this is happening over and over throughout. It's not just Cairns, it's all over Queensland. And the way the letter was written is terribly wrong, because it just quotes things that other councils have already brought the rates up by 15 to 40%. When I first spoke to Terry the Friday before last, he said, it'll probably only mean, we'll probably only do it around 10 to 15%, which is only half a cup of coffee per week. Well, it wasn't explained that way in the letter, and the owners that got this letter thought it was going to be a lot worse than that. But the main thing is, why are they discriminating against the people that we need to be buying properties to put onto the rental market? And, if it's half a cup of coffee, or if it's, 15% would be $2.70 per week. Now, 33%, or roughly 34% across Australia, of properties are owned by investors. Then if that was distributed evenly between all property owners, it would only be a third of that. So that's the big question, and that's what everyone's up in arms about. Why are we discriminating against the people that we need to be buying properties to put on the rental market?
It's interesting. I don't know why people are saying, but this obviously is generated by the officers, council officer generated. Well, what's the difference? I mean, to say it goes before the council, all the councillors, and they vote on it, and that gets it over the line. So I don't know why they're even bringing that up. I'm also interested in this article too. Billy White says here, Mr Gartner formulated the petition calling for the council to scrap the tenant tax. In 5 days, it had gained its goal of 1,500 signatures. Did you put a ceiling on it and then it didn't count anymore?
No, we did not put a ceiling on that at all. My admin staff just put that through on change.org or whatever, one of the petition things. And change.org said, once you get 1,500 signatures, you will start to get media attention. So that we didn't put a signature a limit on it. No, not at all.
Now, let's talk about the other thing. Kathy Zyger bravely came on the program and said she can't understand why this is done, particularly timing-wise. I was talking with Brett Olds yesterday. He's not supportive of it. I'm starting to think there may be a fracturing of the councillor solidarity on this matter. What are your thoughts? Is that a possibility? Because the backlash has been overwhelming.
Well, John, I just don't know what I said on my photo. Well, what are they thinking? Why would they target what we need to be doing? I lay awake at night trying to figure out what we can do to get more rental properties on the market, how we solve this crisis that we're in. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. And this is just, like I said, the straw that broke the camel's back for many investors.
Yeah.
With what's gone on in the last few months with the Queensland government trying to put a land tax. You know how many phone calls I had from investors from Sydney and Melbourne that are just irate about trying to combine the UCV of their properties in Sydney and Melbourne or anywhere in New South Wales, Victoria or other states, and combine that onto their land tax bill. That luckily got scrapped, but that was as equally as ridiculous as this. But what we need to be doing is figuring out a way of getting new properties built. We should be looking at trying to find incentives for investors to build properties for the rental market, not necessarily buy properties that are already existing, but there's a lot of vacant blocks of land around town, and no one has developed them since about 2007, in the last boom, when all the developers went broke. So if we could utilize some of these blocks of land that are sitting there vacant, we could somehow build some sort of affordable housing on them and give the investors some sort of an incentive to build properties for the rental market.
Yeah, Billy, it's very, very well structured argument. I appreciate this today. Thank you. Billy Gartner on the line there, Principal and Director of Professionals Real Estate at Edge Hill. To the news now, back to more talk after the news.